everyone. We are so excited to be here at the 2026 Desert Apologetics Anchored Conference. My name is Christian. I'm here with Warner Wallace, one of our key speakers here. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for doing the interview.
So glad that you're here with us.
Glad to do it.
So you are about to go up on stage right now to talk about
in a few seconds here.
to talk about what you're talking about, and I don't even know what you're talking about.
We're doing this whole conference has really been on how to be an everyday apologist, and a lot of that is just trying to figure out like why are we even doing this? Somebody asked me before the session. He was with two younger guys, and he says, "Hey, I'm trying to explain to them what apologetics is."
Yeah. So what is apologetics?
Yeah, can you help me out? So I said, there's a lot of ways to take the time to do this, but these are two younger guys, and I said, okay. So what's your favorite football team? And the guy says, well, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Are they going to do well next year? Yeah, no, probably not. Okay. So tell me why they're not going to do well.
Yeah.
And he was able to list like 5 or 6 reasons, mostly in their receiver core.
Okay.
Like how they're aging out, blah, blah, blah. Like he had specific reasons.
So he knew exactly
why they weren't going to do well next year. Now, whether you agree with him or not, because you're a Cowboys fan, that's fine. But I get it. I said, you're already a case maker. You're geeked out enough about football that I could probably, I am actually the same way. I mean, you could ask me about pretty much any team next year's chances, and I have an opinion that is based on data that I've been collecting about football. Who cares about like why am I doing that?
Right.
Well, because there's always something you're so geeked out about that you're automatically paying attention, and you can make an internal case for this. You never even realize you can make a case for it, but you're never going to be without something to say on that topic because that's the thing that you care about. So whatever it is you can make a case for, it probably reveals what it is that you think is important.
So how does that apply to apologetics in Christianity?
Okay, so we have this, we say we're Christians.
Yeah.
Okay, are we geeked out about this enough to like have thought deeply about why we think that God's nature is triune? Or why we think that God is love, or why we think that God created the world? That's the best inference is just Scripture, because everyone's got Holy Scripture, every spiritual worldview. Is that what we're going to do? We're just going to embrace by faith without ever thinking about it? No, it turns out if you're geeked out about it, it's not like you said, oh, I should be a better apologist. No, you just became a better apologist because you were geeked
just
out
automatically.
about it. It just happens. It's the thing you're interested in. I actually think you could say it this way. Whatever it is you can defend, that is your God. And if you can defend the Dallas Cowboys season next year quicker and faster than you can defend what you believe about Christianity, well, you just told me what you worship.
That makes a lot of sense.
So we don't have to explain to people like what is apologetics. We just need to ask, what do you really worship? Like, what do you care about? And are you willing to deep dive it? I mean, I can't read 3 verses a day in Scripture without like getting rabbit trailed into something that verse brings up that I'm like, oh, why would you say it that way? And then I spend an hour messing around with that one verse because I'm geeked out about it. And
so you have that passion.
Right, and then if you ask me about it, as long as my aging memory doesn't fail me, I could probably tell you something about it, not because I'm trying to become a better Christian apologist, because I'm interested. And this is the most important thing I could be interested in. So a lot of what we're trying to do at a conference like this is, we're going to talk about approaches and techniques, but I'm probably going to have to start by just telling people, look, remember that you can tell what you worship, what you think is of primary importance. And everyone, there's no one on planet Earth who doesn't worship, who doesn't hold something to be the thing they're so devoted to. That they're willing to study for it, prepare for it. They've got a defense to offer for it. It's something. It's either music or it's culture. Or right now it could be politics. There's tons of things that we are so interested in that we could say, oh, that pundit, that podcast host, she's wrong, he's wrong, whatever, because you're so geeked out on it. So now it's just, I hope at conferences like this just help us to realign what it is we're passionate about.
Yeah, that's really good. So with being an everyday apologist, are there any requirements to that?
I think I would just first of all, drop the term apologist. I think it just sucks to begin with. I just never liked that word.
What would you rather use?
You were case makers. I mean, we can make a case for
really
the things that we care about. And so if you want me to make a case for this, it's kind of like, can you answer why? We often are really hung up on the what's. Like we'll say what we think is true. What's true about the world? What? But the reality of it is we don't often know why
Yeah.
We hold to that what. Or if you asked us why, well, I learned that from my dad. Or I learned that from some, like we'd never really examined it.
Yeah.
So what we want to be are people who are have thoroughly examined what they believe about anything.
Yeah, for themselves.
For themselves every day.
Right.
So that when people ask a question like, well, why do you believe that? You can at least say, well, here's why. Now, for a lot of us, we've been trained that, well, your personal testimony is sufficient. You know, just tell them your story.
Yeah.
Here's who you were before you met God, and here's who you are afterwards. But everyone's got a story like that.
Yeah.
So why would I trust your transformational God story over my Mormon friend who's got a transformational God story?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we aren't basing our testimony in anything outside of our own experiences.
Yeah.
And if you do that long enough, you will find yourself running out of experiences that matter, and competing with everybody else's experiences, and then wondering if how can you trust your own experiences? Like, against what are you measuring?
Yeah.
You might believe someone is the killer of whoever. Like, how many? Like, right now this year we have had a number of famous murders.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are still unsolved.
Wow.
So the question then becomes: you've got a theory about who it is? Why? Because you believe it is so? Because you just have a hunch? Hunches don't go very far in front of criminal jury trials.
Right.
So what you want to be able to do is say, yeah, I think it's so-and-so because of these 5 reasons.
The evidence.
Yeah, give me a case for it.
Okay.
And if you've got a good case for it, then you start actually looking deeper, and you might even develop a case you can take in front of a jury. But if you're it's just purely I'm experienced, I've known people like that. Like, if it's just going to be grounded in your own experience, you can't trust that. And that's why it's important for us to do it's not an either or. I want you to share your experience.
Yeah.
But I want you to tell me why that is connected to Christianity and not your imagination.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think testimonies are very powerful, but I do think we also need to have the hard facts as well.
And we often separate those two things.
And
because we do that, you'll see, for example, I've got lots of friends from the LDS Church who at some point have been told, either on their missions trip or otherwise, end with if you get to a point where it's going nowhere, share your testimony. As if the testimony itself has power. Of course it does, but the gospel is what has power.
Right.
But every theistic or spiritual worldview has a gospel of its own, has a message, a highest thing that you can achieve if you are part of this system.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so why should I believe yours?
Yeah.
You've had an experience, but so has my Hindu friend, so has my Buddhist friend, so has my LDS friend. These folks all have experiences. We have to figure out how to separate from what's just not all experiences are grounded in reality.
That's true.
So we have to figure out, like,
true.
what is true.
Yeah. So with the personal experiences plus the hard facts, what would you say are, like, maybe the top 3 cases for defending the gospel of Christianity?
Well, it's all going to come down to, are those gospel accounts reliable? Do they
Yeah.
contain reliable eyewitness testimony? I say it that way because we know that we don't have any reason to believe right now, at least, that Mark was an eyewitness, and we know Luke was not to Jesus.
Okay.
He was an eyewitness in the book of Acts.
Okay.
But he says he's recording the work of the eyewitnesses
Okay.
and servants of the word. And I think there's good reason to believe that Mark is recording the data from Peter.
Got it.
So I make a case for this in a book called Cold Case Christianity, where I'm just really offering, same thing is true in criminal trials. If I'm working a cold case, we don't allow witnesses to write their own statements. A detective interviews a witness. The detective writes a summary of the witness statements.
Okay, that's
so
really
when I get the report, it's a detective who wrote it, who didn't see it.
Okay.
He's writing what the witness told him about what the witness saw.
So that's kind of like what Mark is doing with
same
Peter.
Luke is doing
Okay,
too.
interesting.
He's talking to eyewitnesses and he's writing accounts. So people will say, well, those aren't eyewitness accounts. No, the question is, do they contain the testimony of eyewitnesses, and could I test it in a way to see if it's reliable? So I think it's all going to come down to, and now most people just don't know, they haven't been trained to test eyewitnesses. But if you have done that for a living, then eventually there's a certain template we use.
Yeah.
And if we simply use the template on the Gospels, you'd have at least an understanding of whether or not you could trust them as reliable.
Okay.
So
were you able to...
That's how I became a Christian.
Yeah,
was
okay,
simply
wow.
by testing those accounts.
Yeah.
And I found that at the end of that was pretty compelling for me. Now, the thing that most people would say, I would have said at 35 when I was not a Christian, I would have said, well, yeah, but the existence of the supernatural is the disqualifier that demonstrates that it's not reliable. But that was really more about a bias that I held against the supernatural rather than But because you believe, like I believed in Big Bang cosmology, that there's something outside of space, time, and matter that creates space, time, and matter.
Yeah.
Well, now I've already got a causal force.
Yeah. A
outside
supernatural.
of nature.
Yeah.
It's extra natural. It's outside of space, time, and matter. So I've already got something out there. And
Yeah.
if that something actually entered into its creation, who knows what it could do. So I think you have to be open-handed about it.
So is that what brought you over the edge to believe in supernatural?
Yeah, I think for me, I just went through that check box, those 4 criteria that we use for eyewitnesses. Were they really there to see what they said they saw? Can they be corroborated in some way? If they change their story over time, and do they have a motive to lie? I just applied those to the gospel authors. And at the end of that, I thought, yeah, to be honest, you're kind of except for the supernatural elements, nobody would doubt the historicity of Jesus if there were no miracles in the accounts. So what's holding me out? It's something, it's my bias against the extranatural.
So you had to come to terms with that bias.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's something that we all have to do.
Yeah, something we can talk about at the conference too. So I hope people are attending and hopefully get that kind of stuff out of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for coming to the 2026 Desert Apologetics Anchored Conference. And we are so excited to hear you in a few minutes. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
But I have an announcement to make. So you're not going to see me for a bit, but if you want to, you can see me in person. I will be, actually it's at my church where this is going to be, but it's going to be the Desert Apologetics. That's the name of the organization. They've been trying to get me to come out to one of their conferences for years. I did one a long time ago, and they've been attempting to get me to come out to another one years later. And it's got me there. Oh, by the way, so I was asked by Allie, who puts on the conference. She goes, "What if it was at your church? Would you come?" And I was like, "Sure." Next thing I know, they're doing a conference at my church. So yeah, there we go. This is at my church, Grace EV Free in La Mirada. You guys can come and be part of the service and the services, or whatever you want to call it, the conference. It is on September 12th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's just a one-day intensive conference. It's called the Everyday Apologist, and we're focusing on the conference overall, I would say, focuses on apologetics for evangelism, apologetics towards evangelism. So equipping you to use apologetics, leverage it for the purpose of evangelism. That's how I would summarize it. That's my impression of what we're doing here. There's me. I'll be there. J. Warner Wallace, Phoenix Hayes, Lineage Garrison, John Solieri. I'm sorry if I got your last name wrong, John. You're probably used to it. Solier, maybe? One of those, probably, I'm guessing. Joe Adams. Ali Black will also be there, and Eric Tonnes, 2 guys that are actually part of my church, Eric Tonnes and Doug Axe, and both great guys as far as I know from all my experience with them. And I know how to pronounce Eric's name, even though nobody else would unless you told them, because Tonnes, Thoe, and yeah, that's confusing. Nobody's going to know that. How does anybody know your last? Change your name, Eric. Make it easier. I'm joking. So it's hosted by Grace EV Free. The address is there. The information's there. The little QR code's there. I don't know if you can see it to use it, but just go to desertapologetics.com if you guys want. Can I maybe make the QR code bigger in case someone wants to scan it? Hold on. A little janky, but that might work. Take a screenshot, scan it, maybe. Anyways, that's coming up September 12th, right? If you want to be part of it, you're welcome to. And I don't know. I have no idea what ticket prices are or other plans for the day. But go to the website, desertapologetics.com. Remember, desert is with one S.